हरि
जय गोपी जना वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी।
जय गोपीजनवल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन
नन्दन
यशोदनन्दन
व्रज
व्रज
जनवन्दन
जनरञ्जन
यमुनतीरावनचारी
जमुनावनचारी
जय राधा माधव कुञ्ज बिहारी।
जय
जय
राम
जय
कुञ्ज
बिहारी
गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी।
जय
जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन
यशोदानन्दन व्रज
यशोदानन्दन
जनरञ्जन
यमुनतीरावनचारी
यमुनावनचारी
जमुनातीरवनचारी
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
कृष्ण हरे
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 हरे राम हरे
हरे
राम
राम
राम राम हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे
हरे कृष्ण
कृष्ण
हरे
कृष्ण
कृष्ण कृष्ण
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
कृष्ण
हरे
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 राम
हरे
राम
राम राम
राम
राम
राम
हरे
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 जय प्रभुपद शिल प्रभुपद शिल प्रभुपद
जय प्रभुपद
पदा प्रभुपदाय
प्रभुपद शिल प्रभुपद
नित्य गौर हरिबो
हरि हरि
हरिबो हरिबो नित्य गौर हरिबो।
निताय
हरि
गौर
हरि
हरि
बोल
बोल हरि बोल
हरि
हरि
बोल
बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल
बोल प्रभुपाद की जय ग्रंथराज
जय
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
जय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय
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 ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम
ओम
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय
वासुदेवाय
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम
ओम
नमो
नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय
वासुदेवाय
नारायणं नमस्कृत्याम्
नारायणं
नारायणं
नमस्कृत्यं
नमस्कृत्यम्
नरं चैव नरोत्तमम्
नरं
नरं
चैव
चैव
नरोत्तमं
नरोत्तमम्
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं
देवीं
सरस्वतीं
सरस्वतीं
व्यासं
व्यासम्
ततो जयमुदीरहे।
ततो
ततो जयमुदीरये
जयमुदीरये
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु
अभद्रेषु
अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं
नित्यं
भागवतसेवया
भगवत्सेवया
भवन्ति उत्तमश्लोके
भगवते
भगवते
उत्तमश्लोके
उत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी।
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 7, text number 41. Okay. So text number 41, that's it. Atopetya swasibiram Govinda Priya Sarathihi Nyavedyatam Priyayai Sochante Atmajan Hatan. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation: After reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and charioteer Sri Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife, who was lamenting for her murdered sons. Purport: The transcendental relation of Arjuna with Krishna is of the dearmost friendship. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord himself has claimed Arjuna as his dearmost friend. Every living being is thus related with the Supreme Lord by some sort of affectionate relation, either as a servant, or as a friend, or as a parent, or as an object of conjugal love. Everyone thus can enjoy the company of the Lord in the spiritual realm, if he at all desires and sincerely tries for it, by the process of Bhakti Yoga. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunlitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitamena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Tapadagamam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagadatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Chajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Nitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripuri Panchakalpadar Vestakpa Sindebhya Vachapatitanam Bhavanebhya Vaishnebhya Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyadi Bhaskata Deshatarane Mukam Karati Vacham Bangalanga Gire Patham Deshi Guru Nitanam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Neelachala Nivasaya Nitya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannatha Te Namo Namaha Hariom Tat Sat. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter, text number 41. Translation: After reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and charioteer Sri Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife, who was lamenting from her murdered sons. Thank you all for joining the Sunday morning program. It's extremely an amazing day, very important. We are here to enhance our constitutional connection, our true connection to Sri Krishna and to Srila Prabhupada, and seek their blessings to progress in our own lives and enliven our spiritual journey. This is a verse which is very, very important because it's actually going to take a turn towards the future aspects of the activities which are going to be performed by the Pandavas, and then eventually Parikshit's deliverance coming through the womb of Uttara. So this verse is a bit like a movie trailer, we can say, or like a trophy hunter scenario, right? But it's fully drowned with a lot of pure love. So the translation is very straightforward. Prabhupada explains that it's just out of a page of Mahabharata. After reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and the charioteer Sri Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife Draupadi, who was lamenting from her murdered sons. See, we see this as a very realistic report and an aspect of relationships here, right? Prabhupada also explains that there are different variations to this in the purport. So we see this as a realistic aspect of that relationship here and genuineness of love of a motherly feeling from Draupadi. Even though she's in front of the aggressor, the other week, maybe a couple of weeks back, we did read and understand that there are different types of aggressors who can be either killed or punished at any point of time. Someone who puts a fire into the house, or someone who abducts with the wife, many things like that. So, but here she's in a privilege position of actually punishing the aggressor, Ashwatthama, even though he is the son of a Brahmin, who lost all his qualities as a Brahmin and also his Kula tutelage, right? The lineage of the Kula. He was a burnt, nothing but a burnt remnants of that lineage, great lineage of Dronacharya. Krishna personally has with Arjuna, has entrusted Ashwatthama, just like an animal is tied in the ropes, is entrusting to a butcher for butchering just in front how he wants. This was given to as a gift to Draupadi, as being proclaimed by the Goshen, means someone who has said, I will do this. So, as per Arjuna's promise, he delivered Ashwatthama to Draupadi to take a decision to punish. However, as a matter of emotional and softness of a mother, Draupadi is unable to punish Ashwatthama, which we'll probably see in the couple of verses coming now, the next few verses. However, this verse is a very interesting analysis which we can do into two aspects, which are very prominent and very serious. The entire aspect of this particular verse is Srila Prabhupada has touched upon in 1970s on this particular verse, but the deeper meaning of it can be understood in two constitutional levels. One, the living entities can at any point of time associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which through 5 different primary rasas. These are the root of all relationships. Second, every living entity is thus related to the Supreme Lord by some sort of relationship, affectionately, either through servant or as a friend or as a parent or as an object of conjugal love, as told by Prabhupada in the purport. We, as grihasthas or householders, basically anyone who lives outside the temple, is also known to be a grihastha, even though if they are not married also it's okay, but that's a fact. Are also working on almost the same level as how the spiritual rasas are connected by having a relationship building exercise with other living entities, which are coined through various different names in the relationship category, just to satisfy our senses and minds. We call them as parents, we call them as uncles, aunties, brothers, sisters, friends, lovers, husband, wife, grandmother, grandfather. So many variant relationship coining exercise is being done just to satisfy our own senses and minds. However, through this different relationship, which we are also trying to enliven our senses and trying to connect it, it will be thought as if this relationship is going to exist forever. But unfortunately, the relationships are not eternal in this world, because this place is created on a very temporary scale and it is very detrimental and ephemeral, very superficial on the air. It is not that easy to digest when we think about, oh, okay, these kind of relationships are bound to give me happiness. But unfortunately, the relationship which exists in this material world, which we have defined, designed, and adapted to it, are only going to bring us more pain and more unhappiness. Because we are always a failure. Why? Because the day one itself is a rebellion element. So moment there is a rebel starts in the system, the end product are also going to be created as a rebellious system product. So from the womb till the tomb, we are a failure. Before we were born, we are praying to come out, seek a freedom and shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. But we don't know what's going on with us inside. But the mother thinks my child is happy there, or at least they think so in this current set of mothers. When the child kicks, they think that, oh, it's the child is very happy and it is listening. But the child is being bitten by worms, germs. The skin is very delicately evolved. So when we are as child, we are also a failure. Come to the next level. To make ourselves to convey our information to our parents. The parents' understands are different. Their needs are different. Their requirements are different. So there is a failure in understanding what we want. There is a failure in understanding what exactly we wanted to deliver to the parents. So there is a failure element there also. When we are teens, our youngsters, our hormones kick up very, very fast. We think that we are the controllers and don't want to listen to our parents. But the parents think that my son and daughter will come out in flying colors by listening to what they say. And so somehow or the other, the failure is actually imbibed to touch what is going to be expected out of it. So now we are moved from the child, from the womb to the child, to the youth, to the youngster. Now we are coming to the next level. We are getting old enough to get married. The parents think the girl will follow their words and instructions. Neither the boy or girl would want them. Not anymore. Wants freedom. And can think or do something which is completely different only to satisfy their own senses. Because this is natural. This is the evolution of an progressive path in the material lifestyle. So again, we are a part of a failure progress. The program itself is a failure. Then our children's, they want us to be there for them only for being a guide for delivering a child or to be a child minder or a caretaker, right? So that they can still get some freedom to enjoy their senses. So on, this life goes on and there's endless to this. The cycle itself is so much intrigued, right? So what is this relationship which we are talking about? We are not able to establish that constitutional relationship which Srila Prabhupada explains through primary rasas. So what is my relation with the Supreme? Krishna is there. Why am I here? What am I doing here? Why am I getting entangled so strongly with these temporal relationships which are actually being designed only to build up my thinking that whatever I'm doing is right and whatever others are seeing me doing something wrong also is not right. How many of us have this kind of a perfect relationship with others, whether with partners, with spouses, or anyone and everyone? We are looking at happiness, satisfied, safe, sound, appreciative, loved, but all that we have is completely the vice versa. Misunderstood, unloved, not appreciated, dissatisfied. Main reason, there must be something wrong somewhere. We are going wrong somewhere. Why is this five rasas are not established in a proper scale? Not because we are doing something wrong or we are doing something right and still it's going wrong. We have not realized how to keep Krishna in the center of our activities. Thinking that we are the doers, thinking that we are the supreme controller in himself, right? Whatever we are doing is what is actually taking care of the family, and we are the ones who are feeding the family. Janasya mohot sutapta vittayar. So this is what is it. This is by based on all these things, we are thinking that whatever I am establishing is what the family is leading to. So the happiness we are seeking here in this world is completely oblivion to the world we are actually living in. We are living ourselves in a very unrealistic thought process. There is a beautiful poem which was written by one of the great devotees of the Lord. His name is Govinda Das. Right? We do sing sometimes this. This is a very good meditational song, which we need to probably buy it also. Is it good? It's good. Kamala Dala Jala, Jivana Talamala, Bajo Haripada Niti. What assurance of real happiness is there in this world with all this wealth, youthfulness, sons, family members? This life is tottering just like a drop of water in a Kamala. Kamala is lotus petal. Therefore, you should always serve in Krishna's lotus feet, worship Krishna's lotus feet. Bajahu Remana, Sri Nandanandana, Charanara Vindire, Turlaba Manava Janma Satsange, Taroeva Sindure. This kind of meditational songs actually bring us to the realistic realm in which we need to aspire to live. It is defining the mind, oh mind, just worship the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, which makes one strong. Abhaya Charana Aravindave. Simply worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord the fear personified himself will get feared. We become fearless, having obtained this beautiful, rare human birth, right? It is crossing over the entire world of Nishans. Prabhupada's book, Back to God at Magazine, has a statement, right? God is light, darkness is Nishans. So our only concept of living in this world is through constant association of saintly devotees. This world where we are actually living, we are not realizing it. It's a very harsh place. We have to come out of our cocoon and think and see it with the spiritual eyes, Divya Chakshushu, through the words of Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru, three tenets, that you will know the reality is something else and we are living in an unrealistic world. It's a big jolt. Sorry, it is not my intention to drive a very dark picture on a Sunday morning, but the verse itself is, of course, this is not meant for nice devotees, nice family members, nice devotees who are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam class here and understanding the concepts of Bhagavatam from those beautiful verses to our realistic living pattern. But this is meant for a massive distraction and massive destruction we are seeing, which is happening across in our own eyes. Imagine this situation 5,000 years back. You are in watching a battlefield outside, somewhere standing or sitting, and watching like a movie, like a Troy. Draupadi state, 5 children suffers are massacred in the dead of night. They are just gone. The murderer is actually in front of her. Her husband, who is the ultimate archer in the entire world, has bound this murderer by a rope and holding it like an animal. And her own well-wisher, Govinda Priyayai, right? Prabhupada explained Govinda Priyayai. Govinda is the Lord of the universe who gives pleasure to the senses. Govinda Priyayai. Always thinking well-wisher of all, Surdam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shanti Richati. Peace from them. Here, Lord himself is personally present in front of Draupadi, trying to tell her, come on, Draupadi, kill this guy. He is a complete murderer. He's bounded like a wild animal. He can't do anything. It's pretty ghastly, right? It's very ghastly. Entire scene. Can we imagine? Oh my God, at least I can't handle this kind of thing. Suddenly standing in front of a Mahabharat war where the murderer of the children are just in front of you, and it's full of blood and it's everything everywhere. It's thrown our. We can handle even a small prick of blood oozing out of our fingers. Some of them will actually faint seeing blood itself. I don't know what the doctors. Doctors are very strong older people. We have a few doctors in our Sangha, and I'm sure that they are all strong, definitely strong enough, better than us, for sure, that they don't have to faint by seeing the blood. What to talk of standing in front of the murder of your own children? Imagine the terrible incursion which is happening in this kind of a scenario, right? Draupadi's state of mind. But we don't have to bother too much about all these kind of things, at least for this moment of time by Krishna's grace. But we should not take mothers for granted. Draupadi is not able to take a proper decision at this moment of time. But however, we should never take mothers for granted. They brought great, great people into this world. Shivaji's mother, right? She blandly brought Shivaji to this world with so much of power and empowerment to deliver something to the Mother Earth, Mother India. Nari Shakti. Ravana did that. He was actually a very unique personality, right? He was such a person that he knew everything. He is uh, he is uh, he is highly educated. He's highly well versed in the Shastras, Vedas, and everything. He kidnapped Sita, again a Nari. Then later on, he prayed for his own protection to Amsha of Parvati, Matara, again a Nari, to give him unlimited power to kill Lord Rama, who was the husband of Sita. See the paradigm in which we are in. This is a narcissist mentality. And Hippocrates in Ravana was saying this. He's trying to instigate the motherly love of Parvati to give him more power and power. This is also very similar to what we think and do. I'm not saying that we are all in this bracket, but worldly minded people definitely are, which is very, very uh, unfortunate situation. But we are dealing with them all the time. So we must be pretty careful when we are dealing with these kind of people. Hence, we need to find out a proper method or a proper thought process or a solace point as a solution, how to get into that kind of a mold that you can imagine Draupadi, and she is calm and silent, standing in front of the martyr. We don't have that kind of a platform or an equation to become pretty calm with this. But we can become calm when situations of a different nature is being put in front of us. Because on a day-to-day basis, there are going to be a lot of challenges. Day-to-day basis, our transactional activities are going to be affected in some way or the other, where we don't have a choice but to take shelter of the Supreme Lord's lotus feet or through the devotees, like-minded devotees. That is why Shastras explain that we should always be equipped and covered ourselves with bhajan, patan, patan, yajan, yajan, dana pratiha, all these things. It has to be covered. It is like a kavach. We should build a beautiful armor for us so that anything which is material in its nature, in its activity, will definitely not get affected in our own consciousness. Atha Shri Krishna Namadi na bhave na griham indre seyon mukhe jigvado swayam eva spuratyada. Srila Prabhupada wanted this. Always devotees should be engaged in some service or other to the Supreme Lord. It can be from home, it can be from the temple, or it can be with the devotees, it can be in the Sangha, it can be in the Sunday morning program. Everyone should participate enthusiastically. You see, this is very, very nice. Krishna has invested every single of his energy in the holy names. We know that. Namna Makari Bahuda Nirasharva Shaktis Tatrapitani Mitasmaranena Kalaha Eta Dishi Tava Kripa Bhagavan Mava Pi Durdayam Vidashami Jani Niragaha. We are singing the prayers, Shri Shikshashtakam. That power of the holy names are the ones who are actually the ones which are connecting us to the Supreme Lord, and we become more resilient to it. We need to develop and build some wonderful relationship amongst us. We should build up that proper relationship amongst us, among the devotees, among the family members, among all those who are wanting to connect with Krishna. We are only being put in that situation because of our own desires. Krishna is giving us a chance. Durlabha manava janma satsange. Tarango bhava sindhure. This is Sindhu. Bhava mava dhavagni nirvapanam. Right? This is like a forest fire. No one knows where the forest fire gets started. No one knows the root cause. Probably because the scratching of two bamboo sticks, or probably between two grasses. It can start anywhere and everywhere. But it is Bhava Maha Davagni. It is such a large, vast, powerful forest fire that it is not possible to dose it off. Only rain has to come in order to get it dosed. So for us, the Lord is so kind that He has given us this beautiful platform. He has given us a beautiful human form of life, which we have obtained it by, I don't know for what good reason. No one knows. Every one of us should be very, very indebted, appreciative, gratitude oriented to at least get this human form of life. So let's now take that opportunity to get that used in the right manner. to become more serious, to define and redefine our wonderful relationship with Krishna and his wonderful devotees, that will fetch us what actually constitutes to our spiritual practice. By doing so, we are actually seeing, for example, here in this particular verse, there is a beautiful statement which Prabhupada explains in the translation that Arjuna, along with his own dear friend Krishna as a charioteer, is present and giving off a gift of the murderer himself to Draupadi to take an action. This act is happening in front of Krishna. We don't want to go through this kind of a turmoil in order to come to some kind of a challenging situation where we take up a more responsible practice and a more responsible relationship. First, we need to build our own relationship with, can be with your spiritual master, can be with the Supreme Lord, it can be with the devotees, the like-minded devotees. But there must be some kind of a very healthy level of relationship which is built upon. The building relationship is the biggest challenge in this material world amongst people, whether it is materialistic people or with spiritualists. With materialistic people, any relation which is bounded and brought in is always going to be a disaster because they are being defined through their minds and senses. But as with the devotees, the relationships are built based on the platform of Krishna consciousness because we are bringing Krishna in the center. I am connected to you, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna Mataji. What does it mean? We are bringing Krishna in the center of our activities. When we build that relationship, it is everlasting. Because we leave this place, we go to the spiritual place, we see the same person there again. Hey, I have seen you in Reading. Hey, I have seen you in Swindon. Oh, you are here also. Obviously, where else I will go? Because both of us are in the same platform, right? So we need to be in the same place. Birds of same feather will flock together. So we are also going back to Godhead. Whether you are in Swindon or in America, in Australia, all devotees. That is why Prabhupada said, don't worry, we have our own ISKCON in the spiritual world. Because we are not going to be anywhere else. We are a misfit in anywhere else. We are always very conscious because our prasadams are variant from other people. Our activities are variant from other people. Our chanting is different from others. Our understanding the scriptures from the message of Srila Prabhupada's books are different. So, but this is what the platform is for. So every devotee must invest that amount of effort and time all through their life to build that pure love-based relationship with the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna and become a successful guarantor to go back to God at this lifetime. By the grace of Srila Prabhupada, that is possible only when we are really understanding how these 5 primary rasas can be understood and implemented in our life. When we do that on a constant manner, Krishna is going to reveal to us, right? So there are 6 favorable activities which needs to be done through the instructions of Nectar of Instructions and Nectar of Devotions. All these beautiful books are given us 6 good activities. There are 6 not good activities. So absorb those good activities. So your consciousness is always Krishna-centric. But there are 6 non-descriptive, non-thought process oriented, very unlikely to bring you happiness in the start and the end. You must reject. Right? So this is the practice which Srila Prabhupada has given us. This is the practice which we need to implement in our regular routine. And that can happen only when we show enthusiasm in our activities. Enthusiasm can come only when you are with people who are enthusiastic to do that activity. And enthusiasm means not over enthusiasm. It should be a calculated, measured enthusiasm, which is going to be spread across in your daily routine, which will help you to sustain your existing activities and also not disturb the boat, which will have an impact on a later period or on your existing or subsequent period That will impact your chanting, your reading, your understanding, your connection with the other devotees. So we need to bring that happiness in every one of us. Srila Prabhupada wanted it. This is the practice. We need to have it in place. Today or tomorrow, we need to have this in place. And if we have that in place on a regular pattern, no one can beat us. I'm dead sure. Because this is why it is. Just like how you have a plan. You have a 1 year plan, you have a 2 year plan, you have a 3 year plan, you have a 5 year plan. You plan your act in such a manner that Krishna is kept in the center of your activities and ensuring that it's not going to disturb your practice for the rest of life. Every devotee has to be connected through that method. If you practice through that method, for sure, we are going back to God at this lifetime without fail. I'll stop here. If there is any questions or comments, maybe some reflections, we'll take it.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam.
Yeah.
Yes, there will be definitely.
Your voice is very low. I'm not able to hear you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Can you hear me?
Yeah, better now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, so you have 40 participants today, so it's great. Definitely there will be question and give us forum to ask you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Can you speak a little closer to the mouthpiece or the mic? I'm hearing as if you have just come from the space. SpaceX. You are one of the two astronauts? I thought the other two are in from USA, not from England.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. How is it now?
Who's talking?
Well,
Okay. Your question? Bhakti Priya Radhika Mataji.
Hi, Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavats Pranam.
Pranam.
Prabhuji, it was more of a reflection on what you were saying. Just
Mhm.
I had a recent experience at my workplace where there's an elderly lady that was just recently diagnosed with a terminal disease. She's not so elderly, actually, in her 60s. And I had to do a home visit to go and see her. And her husband was very like tearful, and she was disabled, wheelchair bound. She hadn't been walking around for so many days. And it looked like he had so much affection for her that he really cared about her regardless of how much he had to work hard to look after her. And at the end of it, when I was leaving, he mentioned that she was in a court case where she had some interest in her father's property, and father had died, so she was due some amount of money, and is asking me advice on it. So I said, I don't know, but you can check with whatever your lawyers. And about a week later, so unfortunately, she happens to pass away. So I had to give the family a call. And when I called back, he was least interested in talking about it. He was somewhere out. I don't know. You could hear some music in the background, etc. And that's because initially when I had that contact, I thought, amazing, like this is the material world, and there's still people who are so loyal and so faithful, and But then when I called a week back later, and I realized that it was probably all to do with the money, because then he was talking about how he has to find money to cremate her and stuff. And it really made me realize how relationships in the material world can externally look so flowery and rosy, but what goes inside the heart, it's completely different.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a brilliant reflection. To be honest with you, this is exactly what Prabhupada says. This is called Markata Vairagya. Markata Vairagya means like someone who is going to be cremated, you are in the cremating ground, and then you are doing the cremation. After a few minutes, you say that, okay, let's go and have a cup of coffee. I'm very hungry. Because you're not bothered that cremation is being just happening. The fact is this, everyone in this material world is thinking they're going to be eternal and they're going to be in this body forever. But when it comes to this, they will let go of the people whom they think they are the most dear and near. But when it comes to money, that's what they will accept. But that's why there is a variation between a devotee and a person who's got this material senses, which are actually acting as their guide. So, but however, we as devotees, we need to be careful to deal with these kind of people, not to get involved with anyone and everyone, but we can definitely give them some pure, sweet, positive advice as you give, right? At least chant the holy names of the Lord. Maybe one time if they would have chanted the Krishna's name, they get some mercy. Maybe there is a chance that they would have been given a chance to be born as a human. But then beyond that, we don't have any action action points to perform, because we don't have the qualification for judging them or bringing them to the standard where they can actually go to the next phase of their life. But we as devotees, we are the only, Prabhupada explains in Srimad Bhagavatam, couple of purport points, 7th canto, 3rd canto, and 15th chapter of 7th canto or something like that. Prabhupada explains that it's just because of the devotees this world is still sustaining. There is no other choice. Otherwise, this is guaranteed pathway to hell. The devotees are the ones who are actually holding it, that the entire population is not going back to garden. They are trying. They are somehow or the other trying them to go back to garden with all their efforts. Otherwise, everyone is going bound, guaranteed to hell. So thanks for the update. Thanks for the realization. This is good. And actually, doctors, especially nurses, they are the closest proximity to the reality. They are the ones who see all the time birth and death all the time. So they really, they must be really conscious. They must be really highly Krishna conscious. They have to be, and they also have to be serious in their practice. Their sadhana has to be impeccable. Otherwise, their consciousness is definitely going to get disturbed. Their relationships are going to get just, it'll crumble like a pack of cards. If your Krishna conscious thought process, if your consciousness is not strong. So I honestly recommend that all our doctor devotees, they chant minimum 16 rounds without fail before even you venture into your hospital clinics or into the whatever the operation theaters or anything, by which you are actually being covered, protected by the Supreme Lord's holy names. It is said that whenever you chant the holy names of the Lord, Lord Sudarshan personally is protecting. But especially with the doctors, nurses, carers, they have to be very conscious about it. Otherwise, they will definitely get affected. So please be pretty conscious about that and practice. Thank you. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll go to. So we have a lot of programs happening, so we need to take that as an advantage. If we don't take that advantage, then it's not really good for us. You
Hare
have to be
Yes.
utilizing that time. Yes, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam.
I have question, Prabhu. It's about me and maybe with other devotees as well. So when I'm here, I have sadhu sangha. I have connection with devotees and all. But I am from Delhi, Prabhu. So when I go back home, in there, all the neighbors, family members, they are not Krishna conscious. So it's so difficult to follow or keep Krishna in the center all the time, because they are so much absorbed with these um, material things, meeting people, going out, talking nonsense, watching television and all things. So what I feel is I lose connection. I don't have devotee connections. So how should I spend my time there keeping Krishna in center, Prabhu? That's my question.
Good question. Answer is there with you. You are in Delhi, right? You are
No,
not.
now I came back, but yes, I spent 1 month. I went for Prayag Snan and all, but I
Good.
really felt isolated there with all my family relatives.
You see, you are in Delhi. Delhi is not in forest. Delhi has more than 12 temples. Which temple are you connected with?
Yeah,
That's
so I am Rohini temple
Rohini
in
is
Delhi,
great.
but I couldn't go
Yeah.
there every day. I did visit 2-3 times, but I couldn't go there. It's not that close, and again, I need someone to take me there.
Srila
And
Prabhupada books will help you. You will be able to protect yourself with Prabhupada books. When you are here, take all the association, take and charge your batteries. When you go to Delhi, you give your charge to all of them, and then don't come empty-handed. That's what the advantage we have. When you go outside with the people, you should try to implement all that what you can, all that what Srila Prabhupada wanted us to implement to the other part of the world, right? We have all these people are your well-wishers, your friends, your relatives. They are your near and dear ones. So you should be able to give them the seed of bhakti, right? Prabhupada explains in a lecture in London. He says everyone as grihasthas, they are bound to be as paramahamsas. They have to come to the level of paramahamsas and then distribute the message of Lord Chaitanya. When you are here chanting Hare Krishna, you are with the devotees, you are attending sanghas, you are all the time consciously practicing as much as you can. So when you go to a place where you think there is no association, you give your association to them and make sure they all start reading Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavad. Connect them to the local temples wherever it is established. Somehow or other, Krishna will help them. But Krishna will also help you to give that energy to them so that you can also practice and you can also get the right association. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Hoy, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Because we don't have much time here in this world, in this body. We don't know. Next moment, we don't know. That was, I remember telling this couple of times. I would want to reiterate it again. We have our devotee Ram Kanaya Prabhu. He was actually working and he was working with many people on a Zoom call online because it was across the continents. So he was here in London. So he was talking to one of his colleagues in India. After some time, they could not hear any sound from the other person in his office. So they tried calling him and no response came. It was all in Zoom calls. Okay. And then immediately they tried calling to reach someone in the office to find out. It was on a weekend or something because it was a support call. So then they tried to reach the security guard to go and check if that person is all right or something. When he went, the person who was in the Zoom call, he's also his colleague. The colleague just collapsed and he died. So they did not even know that. 10 minutes on the call, the person was on the call and he died. So this can happen to any one of us. This world is a very, very harsh world. Dukkalayam ashashvatam, and it is seriously harsh. We don't know. We are not realizing it. We need to come to that level of realizing it and start building ourselves with the strength. Anything can happen anywhere. Padam padam yatvit padam natesham. Every step is a mega danger. But we have to understand it. There is no other choice. We have to become serious. We have to take this process of Krishna consciousness seriously. We have to inspire ourselves. We have to inspire others also through our practice by example. If we don't do it now, we will never be able to do it later. As day progress, we are going to become more and more weaker. Our energy levels are going to come down. There is no way anyone can say, I'm going to be enthusiastic at the age of 70, 80 years. You will be only looking at where the next chair is available to sit. Just yesterday, someone was standing, in 2 minutes, he collapsed because he didn't have the energy to stand. So I was just thinking, oh my God, Krishna is at least very kind that he's still given us some energy, right? Krishna says in the Gita, I am the source of the energy for everyone. So if he removes that, then you don't have a choice. So we need to be very conscious, become stronger. Don't allow your minds to dictate. Allow your hearts to dictate. Connect with your Krishna in the heart, and then you will become stronger. Practice by chanting the holy names of Lord, studying Prabhupada books deeper. Without Prabhupada books, we cannot manage this material onslaught on us. So please equip yourself. That's all I can ask for. If you practice this, whether you are in Delhi or in Dehradun, it doesn't matter. Even in Uttarakhand or Uttaranchal, doesn't matter. It's all the same. We will become stronger and we will become resolute determined to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead in our own best abilities. Beyond that, Krishna is going to give us that. Anmol Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhu.
No problem.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
My question is, I'm trying to establish a relationship with Krishna. My question is, can this be fluid? So I've started by treating Krishna as the eternal master, but sometimes I want to think of him as a guru. Sometimes I want to think of him as a kind father, and that keeps moving. Is it good or
It's
should it be
absolutely
only
good.
one?
All the relationships with Krishna is always dynamic. It's never static. You cannot just be the, okay, and today I'm going to be the Krishna's grass, or Krishna's peacock, or Krishna's flute. No, it's not the way we think. Prabhupada explains this. It's fluid for the reason that it is at this point of time not yet completely established, but the process has started. As the process starts and more stronger we become in that resolute determination to serve the Lord will reveal. Etamam prapadante tam staiva bhajamyaham. He will reveal from the heart. Tene brahma hridayadi kave muyanti et suryaho. Lord personally gave the guidance to Brahma to establish this entire cosmic manifestation from the heart. So Krishna is in the heart of every living entity, and he is going to give you all kinds of wonderful desires to establish that stronger resolute determination and the desire for that relationship. And moment at that point of time where the strength becomes stronger, the stronger becomes the most strongest, you'll know what your relationship with is. Till then, it's absolutely fine. You can have a fluid relationship, but the relation should not break at any point of time. It should be constantly with something or the other. Krishna as a father, Krishna as a mother, right? Krishna Mita, what is that? Nadia Godrume, Nityananda Mahajan. What is the other very nice? Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Dana Pran, right? So these are the ways by which we can connect with Krishna. So automatically you'll get your relationship established very soon. But we cannot weaken ourselves with our practice. It should go on, but it should be connected. Don't disconnect yourself with. That's all.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
No worries. Bhaktin Sole.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble best all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, thank you so much for the wonderful class, really, and all the reminders that we face in this world, which is like we were just yesterday discussing with devotees, and so true, like how Bhakti Primachi also said so many examples like that. Prabhuji, I had a question. So from the verse, so like how Prabhupada is saying in the purport, like we we have we can have um, every living being is thus related with the Supreme Lord by some sort of affectionate relation. So and then also like today we were like when we were singing Shikshashtakam, like in 8th verse, obviously we sing it like every time. But somehow I had this question today. So like how how it is said here, like even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. So like I was thinking like how do we, because like I also experience it probably like some days I feel like okay, I have some connection with Krishna, like it's happy, nice, but some days I can't feel it at all. It makes me so sad like that. So how should we react with this, and what should be my attitude? And because like we miss that relationship, and so yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thanks for the Bhagavatam class. Now I need to understand what's your question. Because you almost completed the Bhagavatam class by your question.
No, Prabhu. I was like, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, like
No, I
my
understand this. This is very important. Your question is quite important also. How do we actually have a consistency plays a very important role in our spiritual practice.
yes, Prabhu.
The consistency doesn't happen on day one and day end, right? It may take some time to build up that consistency, but the way in which you build up your consistency is going to be the way in which you are going to be ready to establish that relationship with Krishna or with Srila Prabhupada or with any of the great acharyas. How does it being built? It's built based on trust and love, and it's based on all the very important activities which are going to bring you to that platform. Anything which is favorable. Anya vilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavrutam anukulena Krishna anushilanam bhakti ruttamam. When you have very anukulasya, right? Anukulyasya varjanam. This is very, very important for us. When you bring up a relationship based on that which is favorable activities to connect with Krishna, then the consistency grows many folds. When you are trying to understand Krishna consciousness with your own minds and senses, that's only unfavorable. It is not favorable. So, in order to do so, you need to be bound by that ABCD: association, books, chanting, and diet of prasadam. So, when you do that on a constant basis, Prabhupada's books will never go beyond "you are not this body, you are a spirit soul." It is impossible. If someone is giving you something like a gyan of a different level, that is definitely not coming from Prabhupada books. First page, first canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. Last page, last canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhupada's message is only one: you are not this body, you are a spirit soul. He will never take anything out of that range. That means to say that he wants us to first understand and establish that in the core of our heart, so that we realize on a longer duration that we are able to perceive ourselves with our practice and not get disturbed by anything which is externally bounded to happen to us. So then your consistency plays a big role. If you're chanting 16 rounds today, 20 years down the line, if you're still alive, I hope and pray you should be chanting 16 rounds. That is consistency. And I have seen that in my practice that many devotees who have understood this are still devotees and still going stronger. Those who have not realized it, somehow or the other, by the onslaught of Maya, by the illusory energy, they are not able to practice, they have dropped off. But Prabhupada is very clear about it. When you have strong base, strong foundation, your house is never going to get disturbed by any of the external adhyatmika, adibhautika, adidevika kleshas. So practice, build up your system in such a manner that you will be able to have that same vibrance, whether it's one day or the second day or a third day. We see that in the great devotee's life, right? They never have any kind of, sinusoidal wave in their practice. It is all the time very, very smooth, very streamlined, very focus centered. Few activities which they perform is absolutely on dot. It never goes wayward. That is the secret of our success. So we need to practice that. We need to establish that. Look for those kind of devotees as for you to get inspiration from. Then you will be able to proceed and produce yourself with that kind of a result. Okay. All right. So Gunaraj Prabhu, one more question.
Yes, bro. Thank you, bro. So probably
Thanks.
the last one. Uh, as you have brought many things into our discussion today, it's like one of the point which I have taken is inspired. Yeah, like you do and try to inspire others as well sometimes. So generally, like whatever Mataji also pointing out is like there is a shastric evidence who are we and what is your constitutional positions and all. But like, is it something like when you inspire others, generally, for example, in our association, we also got inspired, and now we would try to inspire someone else. So how that thing should actually go? Because if you ask, call to Bhakti Sangha or something like, generally people are says, their things like generally it is a material world, so everyone is busy on their regular routine stuff. But what should be our mood to inform them? As like you have struggled to inform once upon a time to us, but you convinced. But how should be our mood to tell our someone nearby?
Yeah. It's a good point again, Prabhu. Not one hat fits all heads. Not one person can fit everywhere, right? Because everyone comes with their own, somehow or the other, what we call it as their own conditioning in this material world. Just like how Indra was actually sitting in one beautiful pond. surrounded by his wives and children's, as what? As a pig. And Lord Brahma had to come personally and tell him that, Indra, what are you doing here? You are supposed to be the Devendra, the god of all gods in the heavens, and you're sitting here and playing around. He said, don't disturb me with all these thoughts. I am not Indra or Chandra, nothing. I've got nothing to do with this. I'm here. I am a wonderful family. I'm enjoying my prasadam every day without fail. I get my quota and much more than what I want. I'm really, really enjoying this wonderful, beautiful pond, which is full of dirt. Why? Because this is very obvious. Prabhupada is giving this as an example for us. Some people come with 5 fingers are not the same. So that means that in our own family, let us assume that whatever thought process you have, your wife may not probably accept. Whatever your thoughts and your wife's thoughts, your son or daughter will not accept. Because our nature is like this, chanchala, all the time thinking about anything and everything. But in terms of you making them understand that Sadhu Sangha is very important, reading Srila Prabhupada books is important, chanting the holy names are important. Try your levels best to convince them. If you are unable to do so, don't lose your heart. Leave it to the Supreme Lord. Do a prayer or two for them. Oh Lord, please protect them. These are the people who have got a chance. Because every lifetime, in fact, every lifetime we have had a chance to meet the Supreme Lord personally. But we have never got a chance to meet a spiritual master who is bona fide in the nature through the process of Guru Sishya Parampara, a bona fide Guru Sishya Parampara. We have never got the spiritual master. Unless until you get the mercy of the spiritual master, you will be never able to get the mercy of the Supreme Lord. From the spiritual master, you get Krishna. From Krishna, you get the spiritual master. So if we have a chance, have your own prayer to an intense level. By your own prayers, Krishna can get revealed. Krishna may change and see that, okay, this devotee is sincerely praying, not for himself, but for others. That is Vaishnava, para dukkha dukhi. You know that you are trying to get them to this. Sometimes it does happen, when something happens to our own children or to our own self or to our own friends, we immediately react, right? If something happens to the person who is sitting in the road or a beggar or a homeless guy, if he gets hurt, we probably say, okay, give him some medicine or something and go off or something like that. We don't even care about it. Go. Why? That change is there because you feel that you are connected to this person through blood or whatever. So in the same way, extend your bloodly relationship to praying relationship to others. Prayers work wonders. It doesn't matter. If someone says, Prabhu, please pray for my health. I am not well. Okay, that is fine. So what is it that it's happening? Or then you say, okay, Prabhu, I will pray for your health. But if that health is going to bring you to Krishna consciousness, then your prayers are good. If your prayers to that person, just because as soon as he gets up and running and he goes and does a gambling, that's not good. So then your prayer should be molded in such a manner that, yes, I will pray to the Supreme Lord for your well-being to become more Krishna-centric. Automatically that prayer is working. It will work. Because Krishna is in the heart of everyone. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishtam mattar smriti jnanam. He is there to provide all kinds of memories, remembrance, forgetfulness, everything. Krishna is the controller. We are not the controllers. We are only passing out that message as a postman. Whatever Prabhupada has given, whatever our spiritual masters have given, whatever the devotees have given, we are just passing on to those people who will also get benefited. So your focus center must not get disturbed from your practice, but you can also extend your giving harm through prayers. Beyond that, you can't do much. So you continue to do so, whatever you are able to. So Prabhupada explains that there are 3 levels. One is you take association of those senior devotees and accept all the data what they are giving about Krishna completely. You share your own Krishna consciousness practice to whom you think you are peer to, so that you will be able to practice and discuss and further go stronger in your Krishna consciousness. You give your Krishna conscious practice plus your prayers to those who are not at your level but much lower. so that you can uplift them to your level. This is what Prabhupada wanted us to do. So please do that. All right.
Yes, bro.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll stop here. It's almost quite a lot of time. Any announcements for the week? I think we have Tuesday is Papa Moshini Ekadashi coming up. So Pratap May Prabhu or anyone else who has got an update or some important information which you want to share it, please go ahead. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanande.
Hare Hare Bol. Thank you, Prabhuji. Have a nice day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Narasimha Chaturdashi.
सर्वेश्वर कृपा सिंधु वैवच पतितानं पावनेवो वैष्णवेवो नमो नमः.
Anantakoti Vaishnava ki jai. Namacharya
Hare Krishna.
Happy online Bhaktivinoda ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.